This time on Boneyard Revivals, it's finally time to put together our budget build 283. How cheap can we do it for? We're going to find out. Alright, so we're back down in our engine disassembly room and we're going to be taking a look at our 283 again today. It's time that we start building this thing. So let's go over what we know about this engine so far. So bought it for 250 bucks. Tried to get it to fire up and run, didn't want to run, tore it apart. Turned out that the timing gear, the stock original timing gear blew apart the nylon pieces, so basically this engine was skipping time, hence why it had the miss. So with that being said, it was kind of time to start game planning the build for this, and I had a bunch of different ideas. One of them starting with taking the heads over to Joe over at Barn Performance Machine, having him completely go through the heads, and then we had a cam picked out. It wasn't anything crazy. I think it was like 420 lift, something like that, but it had a bunch of duration, and I think it had a pretty tight LSA too, so it would have really helped this combo out a little bit. But then I kind of went and switched gears again and kind of stuffed this away in the corner and stopped thinking about it, because this engine right here is our budget build 350 out of our square body Chevy. Now, you guys know this engine very, very well on this channel. There's probably a good chance that the first time you ever saw me was building that engine. That engine has a slew of issues. We found coolant in the oil, so it's all torn down right now. That thing needs a bunch of work. So then my game plan for the 283 here kind of changed. I want to hop this thing up, but we want to do it on an extreme budget. Don't want to have a bunch of money wrapped up in this 283 when I'm going to have a bunch of money wrapped up in our budget build 350. So with that being said, let's talk about cams. Which one did we choose? Here's our cam. This cam here is the original cam that came out of the budget build 350 when we, tore it down 2 years ago to put the bigger cam in it. I know that this is a throttle body injection cam, and basically it is the biggest cam that you can get while keeping the ECU stock, like, and not putting a chip in it. I'd be lucky if it has like 410 lift. I'd like this engine to run. I'd like it to be a solid runner for as cheap as I could possibly get it. Here with the 283, our heads are on, head bolts are tightened. You guys watch that. Basically what we got to do now is I had our cork gasket here trying to figure out, making sure that it fits and stuff. Basically lay our gaskets in. We have to do our seal back here, and we're going to do a little bit of RTV in the corners just to try to make it stick. I got to get the other gasket on it here, so yeah, plus our timing cover, all that kind of stuff, and then we're gonna get the oil pan, get it all sealed up there. If I can do all that, be closing up the bottom end. Unfortunately, I didn't do it on camera, and I don't know why I do this every once in a while. I just get excited and do stuff, but I did pull off 2 of the main caps. She looks cherry. So I'm cool with just letting it ride. Like I said, this is gonna be extreme low budget build, and hopefully it runs good. We also got brand new timing chain on it, torqued the bolts, and also put Loctite on them. So we're good to go. Basically close the bottom end up, roll her back over. We set all of our valves, toss an intake on, and, slowly here we'll pretty much have an engine complete. Looking at our timing cover here, I just dropped the old seal out of it. We're going to put a new front main seal in it. Just, we're here. Might as well do it. And it looked like the old one was covered in oil. You can see how much grease was there. So I'm going to wipe all this down. We'll press this new one in, and hopefully it should not leak. 283 is stands. I have the cherry picker attached to it just to try to keep it a little bit more stable. Everything's hooked up. I just confirmed that we have spark. So I guess the only thing that really left to do now is put fuel in the bowls and see if it barks off. I don't know why I'm nervous about this. Maybe because this engine's like really like half A thrown together, and I'm just hoping that it actually like, you know, functions. So I'm thinking something's off with our timing, but I'm also noticing too is I just bought this 600 like a few months ago. I actually bought the intake and the carb together. And what I'm seeing is that front float might be a touch high, but that back one's filled all the way up. And I kind of like just went over this base, just like based it. But what I want to do is I want to reconfirm our timing. Okay, I fiddled with the carb some more to try to get that right. And then I end up putting in another distributor entirely because the way it's been acting just seems like something's up with it. So let's see what happens. Progress. Let's give her a little bit more timing. It doesn't want to seem to keep running for whatever reason, but it's firing, which is huge. And for the little bit it barks, this thing sounds awesome. Well, there you have it, boys. The mighty little 283 runs. This thing sounds nasty. I don't know what special type of grind juice they put into that TBI cam, but god damn, this thing sounds awesome. So, what's the game plan now? Well, basically at this rate, I need to come up with some front accessories for it. And the other thing that we're really going to struggle with is with the stuff that I have here to try to keep it budget friendly. To make it function in a vehicle, we're going to need a power steering pump, water pulley pump, and a crank pulley. And that's going to be interesting because attaching all that stuff to the front end of it. I did buy some brackets off of Amazon for cheap. I don't know if they're going to work, and I don't know if the accessories that I have here are going to work for it. But basically what it's going to come down to is just trying to accessorize it once it's in the vehicle, hoping the water pump, I put the water pump that was on it, went right back on it. Like I said, on this little guy, we are going bottom of the barrel. The distributor came out of another vehicle that I had, which that actually came out of the budget build 350, so that distributor is not going to stay in this engine forever, especially when I get another engine together to go back in the square body. I kind of want to figure out what's wrong with that one, whether it's an ignition module or something weird. But I do have another distributor I can use. We will put another set of plugs, or not another set of plugs. I'm going to keep the plugs. Do have a whole nother set of used good wires that I might throw on this just so it's not mismatched garbage. These headers are actually G-body headers. I was thinking about painting the block and the oil pan and whatnot, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't even think we're going to spend the money. I think we're going to toss her in exactly the way she is. All right, to wrap up this video, I just wanted to have a general discussion about this engine where we talk about the budget we went over, and then I also wanted to answer some general questions so that I know I'm probably going to get. So let's go over the general questions first that I know I'm going to receive. I've done a lot of these engine build videos, and there's always been people that have commented, and they seem that they really think that they know everything, and it's frustrating because, you know, I know one of the first things I'm gonna get is like, oh, well, you didn't actually build this engine. And I know I've gotten that comment before on other videos, and it's simply comes down to this. Yes, we did budget build this engine. When you get something and you're trying to put it together and you're using as little funds as possible to make it happen, you're not going to be going crazy, going completely through this engine and putting, you know, crank and rods and pistons in this thing. Sometimes budget building is simply as, okay, yeah, in my budget today, I can put an intake and a carburetor and a set of headers on an engine. One of the next big ones that I know I'm going to get is, Robert, you ran this engine on a run stand without having the cooling system set up. Yes, that is correct. You did see that correctly. The water pump was on the engine, but there was no water circulating through the block. Look, firing it up and running it on an engine stand for like a minute or two from it being dead cold, which is what happened here, it's not gonna hurt it. It'll be fine. If you sat there and let it run for, you know, 5, 10, 15 plus minutes and didn't run water through it, didn't have the water pump doing its thing, then yeah, you're gonna hurt stuff. I guess the last thing I wanted to go over too is, you know, just the way that this engine was put together. This is not how I envisioned this going, not even by a mile. I really want to do a lot better due diligence on trying to put this thing together, but what it really came down to was a time crunch. I needed this thing back together, and I need to stuff this in a project car. There's a lot of concerns that I have, you know, in the future. You know, that press-on harmonic balancer, I'm not a big fan of that. That's something that I would like to change down the road. The cylinder heads themselves, if I'm not mistaken, those heads are like the power pack heads. I believe they do not have hardened seats, so that's a little concerning for me. Valve seals, obviously, always a concern. And I mean, who knows? I didn't even look at the rings or anything like that. So I think this thing, just hearing it run on the engine stand, it's going to run fine. I think it's going to be good. But there's a lot of things that, hindsight being 2020, moving forward from this build, that I wish I would have done, but I didn't, because I knew it was going to cost extra money. I knew it was going to cost extra time, and I didn't have the funds and the time to allocate to this engine. The last things I want to talk about, have a general discussion before we get into the budget part of this, was that I didn't show as much as I normally would. And again, it just came down to a time crunch. I was trying to put a video together for you guys, and I'm a one-man band when I do most of this stuff. I do have some help here and there, but 9 times out of 10, it's me trying to wrench on stuff in my free time and record it, then sit down and edit it all, and it's a long, lengthy process. And there's certain things where I know that in previous engine build videos, we went, you know, almost step by step on, you know, how we're putting this thing together and why we're doing, you know, the processes that we're doing. This video wasn't like that, in the sense that I really didn't take the time to show you. It was, you know, oh, hey, here's me torquing the heads real quick. Oh, the timing chain was the main reason why this engine was down, but then the clip cuts and the brand new one's on there. And I don't like that. I like showing you guys every single step of the way, but again, I hope you guys can forgive me on this one, because time crunch, man. Just been so busy with stuff, just trying to get stuff together and you know, keep this content rolling out for you guys. So hope you guys can understand that. But anyways, I'm gonna stop my little, you know, pre-ramble there, and let's talk about the budget and how much we spent, because I think at the end of the day, I think we did really good. Now for the general discussion of this engine. So as you guys know, we bought it for $250. And, you know, like I said, the Edelbrock intake and the Holley carburetor I bought off of a buddy of mine for like $200. The cam is something that I had laying around out of another project. And, you know, the distributor, again, that was out of another project. And so realistically, the most money I have wrapped up in this is the mechanical fuel pump that's on it with the push rod. I think I might have $20 wrapped up in that. And then, you know, the gasket set for, you know, the quart gaskets for the oil pan, the head gaskets for the heads, They sent new valve cover gaskets. I got intake gaskets with it, water pump, timing cover, like all your basic gaskets, you know. I think I bought a whole engine build, you know, gasket kit off of Rock Auto. So realistically, sitting here, what's in front of you, like I said, we have like maybe $500-600 wrapped up into this engine, and it runs and it sounds awesome. And well, there it is, 283 together. It runs, sounds good. The only thing left to do now is stuff it in a project vehicle. You know, I think, you know, with what we did here, with the amount of money that we spent, I can't be mad. $500 to, like I said, $600, excluding some expenses and stuff and whatever. You know, I don't think we did bad. You know, is it perfect? No. Is it exactly the way I wanted it to go together, you know, when we first got it and what ideas that I had? No. Am I an engine builder? God, no. Will this thing hopefully hold together? Well, I guess we're gonna find out. And, but no, if it holds together and it runs good, I mean, man, $500, you really can't, it's so hard to do that nowadays, you know, trying to put something together. And, you know, like I said, oh, you could have put a bigger cam in it and blah, blah. I mean, there's so many different things that we could have done differently that I'm sure you guys are going to make sure that I know about. And I get it. But again, super low buck, guys. Super, super bottom of the barrel, as down and dirty as I could possibly make it. And if we put it in a vehicle and it survives, I'm not mad. Like I said, it sounds amazing. I'm sure, you know, it sounds like it's got 300 horsepower. I'm sure it's going to act and drive like it's got 50 horsepower the second we get trans behind it, torque converter, and front accessories bolted on it. But, man, if it just runs, does its thing, survives, I can, you know, it's a reliable engine, I won't be mad at that. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys did get some value out of this. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. We're trying to, you know, trying to grow here, trying to get bigger. Get out in the garage, start wrenching on your projects. Dreams don't work unless you do, right, boys? I think I say it every single video. Get out there, start doing something. We'll see you next time here on Boneyard Revivals. Take care.